Kuzampo and a very warm welcome to Bhutan This Week, our weekly news magazine program with me, Samtin Dolkar. Our top stories this week. His Holiness the J. Khenpo consecrates a new Lahaga in Mongar. The government extends loan repayment period of youth who went to Japan under the Learn and Earn program. National Council questions the human resource capacity of the local governments against the doubling of its capital budget. His Holiness the J. Khenpo presided over the consecration of the Thormajong Pema Yesil Cheling Laga in Mongar on Wednesday. The temple was constructed entirely through donations from locals of Tsakalingyog. The new temple will replace the existing one, which locals say was too small to conduct religious ceremonies. The construction of the Thormajong Pema Yesil Cheling Laga in Tsakaling was completed last year. Works had initially begun in 2014. This new temple is the only Laga in Mongar that has been constructed without any financial assistance from the government. The initiative was coordinated by the Lamnete of Tashigang Rabde, who is also from Thormajong. Funds were raised from residents and other locals living outside the villages through social media. Around 30 million ngitam was spent to complete the project.
대외변전적인 나야 남첩집에 아랑기 다 로기 준지미 뚜를 내셨지 당아처럼 라발로 코임에 디소파 고기 드바 장니기 되는다 당아처럼 미디나로 미슬로 펜탑이기 되는 당아지기 가데 다다 밑도 탐존는데 롱어 숨대지기 링나로 아니 하가데 두베 마치가는 비진지 수준이.
With the completion of new temple, people are now hopeful they will not face congestion problems when performing religious ceremonies in the new temple.
Earlier, we only had a small temple here for the two Chioks to conduct religious ceremonies, and it was inconvenient for us when we had different religious ceremonies in that temple.
His Holiness also appointed 49-year-old Karma Penjo from Tashigang as the new Lam of Pema Yesil Choling Laga. Towards the evening, people gathered also received kawang from His Holiness the J. Khenpo. For Sonam Sring in Mongar, Samtin Dolkar, BBS News. Some farmers in Tirang are into growing varieties of fruit trees under the Integrated Horticulture Promotion Project. The project was introduced in 2017 in the district. People have started growing hybrid fruit trees which will hit the markets soon.
One such enthusiastic farmer under the Integrated Horticulture Promotion Project is 31-year-old Tsiring Penjo Sherpa. After leaving school from class 10, he focused on commercial farming. Today, Tsiring, accompanied by his wife, will be in the fields tending to his fruit trees. He converted his 50-decimal maize fields into an integrated farm 2 years ago. Today, he planted over 50 fruit trees in his land, while he also grows vegetables alongside. There are some 12 varieties of fruit trees. Today, when the trees are growing, he is making income from selling vegetables.
After calculating, I found that fruits are more profitable than maize, so I started the farm. Earlier, I had no knowledge. However, JICA provided me with training and I developed an interest. They also took us on study tour and learned that it can be a profitable venture.
His farm was also identified as a model farm where farmers from across the country will come to visit and take farming tips. He has undergone trainings such as hole digging, seedling and plantation routine, fruit thinning and grafting among others.
For now, I am the only one who is doing fruit farming in my village, but everybody does vegetable farming. Before, there were a few fruit trees in our village, but was not a good one. It is because we lacked knowledge on fruit farming. Now I'll guide and train my fellow villagers on these aspects.
He also has a nursery from which he is expecting to produce sign for grafting. Should everything go well, Tsering and his family will start fetching cash from its fruits beginning next year. He is expected to make over 100,000 ngitam from selling fruits in a season. For Namgyonchu in Tsirang, Sonomongdi, PBS News.
Over 900 million yutum has been allocated for better mandarin production in the 12th five-year plan. Agriculture and Forest Minister was answering the Lhamay Zinka Tashiding MP in the National Assembly recently. The Dagana MP asked what support and intervention programs are in place with regard to mandarins getting infected with diseases.
Mandarins in the country have provided farmers with more than just a livelihood option. But over the years, mandarin trees have been plagued by widespread diseases like citrus greening. Members of the parliament raised concerns over the matter. Most of them said that a lot needs to be done as the problems have long been recognized.
지디 뭐 미시지수기 때 셀루기 dumbradisu 진종 탐니딜에 대균 지디 두스레 슈닐라 추 두시고 마바베기 류지수 델렛파 юм디수 때 마차비기 때 강길디세두 때 디에치컬루 마바디 때 코라 아니 시트러스 그리닝기 코라기 꾼치에 두슈닐라 안에 배우달로 캐초다 대 맘미스기 니처라기라 때 제고비기 잘라치라 두시 뉴일랑하기 배워진
아 첼루 쭈비기 넘들루 시베 첼루 쭈비기 넘들루 때 마쇼라 때 가차라기 뭐바 수준에도 때 바프라두스기 쿼런타인 베위스 대우달루 짜치 바프라기 쿼런타인 베디기베 때 나한테 탑메 대우달루 짜니 숨지 때 가차라기 미세기 때 낙송배 또 소소배 때마 가차라기 내부 요사기 때 사고날래 때 땜달루 디수기 내부 박디기베 때 테미 테칼라 사고날바 계획이 때 수에 두수슈니빌라 아니 배우들로 지 아니디 가치기 깍담디 때 배숲 독집에 와진 디날로 아치지 땡아치기 메팽가 노이기
헬루기 내부블레텐 때 첼루 싱디수 시베우다 때 디날로 때 내가 삽텐디기베 때 니도 둠라기 싱데 릭 마다오 셰미디수 쪼곱도 발라 때 첼루디 시와신 때 록테라 첼루 쭈디기 탑 데나민둘라 다니 베베우다 땡아치레 드리살레파 때 탑시지 같이 두세와신 다리나바 때 둠다리 달찹조돌 티 같이 골리싱세 아바카도 디 이멜라 때 아니 하이브리드라 다니디 팔레파 미디수기 쪼와 유스슈닐라 쪼니기 때 데보다 샌디 미토베 세슈닐라 다니 첼루디 때 맵테시날레 때 아니숨기 싱데기 릭 셰미수 때 다르샵 때 샌기 릭 마히집치 때 tampel 베니기 탑시치 때 나마신 미디술로 쪼와 두세슈닐라
Challenges such as poor management of trees, insect infestation and water shortage, among others, will all be addressed in the 12th five-year plan.
탑람 당바디 나치라 셀루기 지인두수 때 록테라 진정 탑 츠니기 냄베니기 돈로 때 마니바 진사 니장압주데 작티유 세슈닐라 디다 다우베라 때 당아치라 셀루기 지 삽존이 때 자케타니기 돈로에 때 마뉴사 니자 합지 작티베두 세슈닐라 다 디다 다우베라 당아치라 남지 주저다 템비기다 추 tambal베니기 튕긴두수 때 차주니기 돈로베 때 사 집잘 합지 디나 nembe 작티유 세슈닐라 디다 다우베라 당아치라 설 셀루기 튕긴 튕니 잠치 슈덴바 미트베 때 총제 탑고베 때 총제 탑니기 탑람 조줍 공회다니기 돈로야 때사 집주생아 되지 때베 작티유 세슈닐라 다 디다 다우베라 당아치라 때다 미세 소남바 디스기 조줍 야파타니기 돈로 디나에 때마치 사 추탐되지 때베 작티유
In 2017, 28,000 metric tons of mandarins were harvested. The ministry plans to more than double the mandarin production in the 12th five-year plan. Sunampem for BBS News.
The government will help youth in Japan with their loan repayment. Prime Minister Dr. Lote Tshering said this at the question hour session at the National Assembly last week. The government will hold their loan repayment until the youths finish studying Japanese language course.
The Member of Parliament from Dewatang Gomdar constituency, citing examples of youth employed under the overseas employment schemes in Japan, India and Malaysia, asked if the government has any plans to help youth who suffered in such employment schemes.
Japan ke khamno lu ta najin dunja gapchul hapchilu te kangal tendem gi loju dula ta dizumbera ma jage khamno lepa te najin jajabe ta dizumberan ta jobana te Malaysia ki khamno lepa ya te nga chigi najin jajabe male layogi kokap ta sedigi ta te ma hebdalo layok motobi ki kangel te ane bidu sishuni gergi layok timigi te iksanda te le ya layoling khagi te penka disugi te thik shoshu zumbe te ginkudi Ginkuda Gintri di Mabab Zumchibe, the Tamloji disu, the Darinaba, Nile Kadam Lensugi, the Nijunalo de Betensunu Sijuni.
Prime Minister Dr. Lote Tshering said they are aware of the fact that it's challenging for the Bhutanese youth to meet their expenses and repay the loan from the earnings they make in Japan. He said the cabinet met and decided that the least the government could do is to encourage youth to stay and continue studying Japanese language until they get a decent job in Japan. And until then, the government would extend the loan repayment deadline.
도도파 dümidisu peshatadra dünase tarekumpa Japangi kadil habikablu labenigi kokab nyusujibe rae peshatagondigi te tabmadu thumidi tigi ime peshatdi thotira tanase kongi kadi jamigale dida tündümigi rangi chüsenda te churubda tündümi yuji topniime gyakab first world naime gyakab yerge jojogi gyakabna yuji nitikbe tobingale nami semi lejim jo peshatadra atisa genase peshatai kablu atika uchiungla tani binding ache tare chachi kongi loan di tüchunna tamatsuba-chin kongri kakyodi lapsasachi yu nitikji matopchunsuchi loan tamagoba loan tamnigi tüchachi ati pajangbenigi sundinai seshunibi.
He added that for those who already returned, the government will explore employment schemes so that they can work and repay their loans. He also added that henceforth, sending youth overseas would require thorough briefing by the agencies on the cultural background of the country that the youth are being sent to.
Pusudisu nale ngachara dugya kham nale yage majogi ge khapchi nale Japan lu first world nalu jodalu anidi ngachigi sethang jusob mena se pinalu nindu meba dusugi damasuma labego bi sagochi ila nami simi katigu kutiki di labego bi sagochi anichi ngachigi nalbatamida jomidi sugi nyulenchi hemale namasubigi dunkachi chacho mena asegi te tokpa yuyuse shunwi kachim sawachin sago kate joina ani sago tina josugi gekhapdigi lamluse lab bethang gekhaptina misigi nosa tangthang disunga chigi lejimbe iwa chedigibe pha jomigi najundiswe dida tuntumigi jawachi mapimachin inkena shudume cultural shock thobra thongla.
Prime Minister also said a team headed by the Labour Minister will leave for Japan to study the situation. Around 60 youth who went for Learn and Earn program in Japan came back to Bhutan, and about 700 of them are still in Japan, sent by Bhutan Employment Overseas. Similarly, there are also reported scandals of youth suffering under such scheme who were sent by various agencies to India and Malaysia. Pup Game for BBS News.
Opposition party says the 12th plan is too shallow to address the government's big vision of narrowing the gap, reducing poverty and cutting down the youth unemployment rate. They suggested the government to increase the country's economic growth rate beyond the projected rate of 5 to 6% as presented by the Finance Minister at the National Assembly on Monday.
Member of Parliament from Panbang in Shemgang said the current plan doesn't seem to narrow the gap between the rich and the poor. He pointed out that the Gini coefficient will remain the same even after the end of the 12th plan. The Gini coefficient is a measure of inequality of a distribution.
아직 협담입기 개발디 남로 닉동 숨루 0.42라 닉동 듄루 4 섬주송아 닉동 준이루 4 섬주소루 데리베달루 tenga chegi sa somchi so get 0.38 mabala ani Gini coefficients midi da dari shungi mikdedi gajim sochin shashi chuni padi judu dalu te sa somchi so get ranjai mela te dari gamchi yubina ane bedalu yebda mipki khabar sumni simidi yung choose zoni simidi gura tu te bomb shoni me sishunila.
The member of the opposition also said the 12th plan does not have the drive to reduce poverty and youth unemployment and that the plan's projected economic growth rate is too narrow. Tojuwangdi said the 12th plan will be reducing the poverty by just 0.8%. He says youth unemployment should be brought down to at least 2 to 3%. The current youth unemployment rate stands at 12.3%.
사실 니기 난킬로 주보다 죽지기 난킬로 벤주 8세티 진용기 에버리지 7% 디뉴스메 다 사실 주니 벌루디 믹데디 가듬 주모서 전 믹데디 자청하다 두레멜라 니마기 룹드티메 와야 믹데디 주니 벌루디 디와야 뉴스 인베슈니라 아니 별리틴디기 때 마지기 때마 레림지수 레루치 레심 두 유미수 두시레 슈길라 대표들로 마치기 7단계 카치쇼디 이 미글 지슬로 따우다지 배워진 공부 잡고 뻗어 좀배 때두 시슈니라.
To this, the Prime Minister said the country cannot compare its growth with other Asian countries and that it should be in line with the development philosophy of GNH.
마치기 GDP growth 딘디 개개베 롱앙하게 접려라 바온고 받친디 te gya khamna lo tab madiu jemi bom theong se shunibi yundun gi yarge ngachi gi bom mi sobla mise khar lu gelyong ga ki penzum gi migil de domeso se shunibi mi chub jong mise sem gam sobla.
The finance minister presented the economic growth rate, reducing poverty and youth unemployment, and narrowing the gap as the priorities of the 12th plan. Pup Game for PBS News.
While acknowledging it's a good move to increase the capital budget for the local governments, there are questions regarding how well staffed they are in managing the huge grant. The members of the National Council raised this concern on Wednesday during the presentation of the 12th plan.
Some members raised concerns over how well the local governments, especially geoks, would be able to manage the huge grant given the shortage of human resource in most geoks. In the 12th five-year plan, the capital grants for the local governments increases by 100%. From 25 billion ngutum in the 11th plan, it has increased to 50 billion ngutum in the current plan.
다 zonkhagi thega hibdadi te choduple beruda te kachile beru te ro chodup yobon seshuni la tap madyo myo seshuni te ngajara geok ni jangagi nalu te mangul di bor chitotobe te malu te namdalu tinalu 다 자디 disu 다 mitopgi khatule beruda te ma la beudalu tab dehi tidibe te chadi kajebera chabdoga sevigi te tokpaji
geolalichina mashuchi tappenna ngarang 바로 정칼 임베텐디 바로 정하기 기오 주담비라 기오 주담네 랄리 nga치기 조리 구펜 유럽미스 슈니 가라 정칸날리 젠도스 데좀베 nga치기 티자미 시타바 에콘텐 geo니니 dum데리리라 데 랄리 geo노 데 geo dak종 구펜 가오스 geo administrator ki ani officer de minduse shunila taan beole tendi teta mongilde 창일 너 망일 버치 또토베 게오나 아니빅 베캅루 티 게오기 미톱투 테 야르게 동급디 ngari khatule de namsami te bombe jei ma nahi ngachara gi soten kechi chibonalo sonde nambigi kapsulu te ngelong kyadom hensogi nishu nambuni tung chubdi chema sonde nambigi kapsulu te nyokshe chapcheshoji se sanne jungnala pa tende se te nishu na de tende sushuni la te debole tendigi be dizum te hemalo nishu nalu sanne jungnalu mitop da 냠뇽 대시세 몇밀로 땡디기베 때때 헤말로에 강이 텐데사 다 차주주니 빅나루 망에 탭남달루 때 디다치칼루 차디 찹니디 때 카초레 땡디기베 디세 쪼림 딕디기베 때 망에기 헤마 미톱 디수기 테칼레베루 때 다치 미젤렘부기 카톨레 소연순데 때 다디 찹디기베 나나 스위기.
The finance minister assured to develop the human resource capacity of the local governments. He added, the increase in capital grant is in accordance with the constitution and towards strengthening the local governments.
Dikshida lamruchi rules and regulations tenga cheki samti yu se shugela ngudegi thulu bachin ngugi lamlu tel ngudel ngache ngu launch ni gi telu financial rules and regulations la dile ngache gi chashigi thelu be bachin gyogo ki penzol hensogi tunchi sagi khatule chaji de samdalu te gada chiga teto begomina gada chiga tinchu chapkobina chaji samthangi lamlu di gate beina inclusiveness gate be yobina ta andu kaya te ngache tikshida lamlu di gibe te chawine chu di gibe danzi besu sessionila dige mase te ngache chaji chunibgi nalu blog grandi te tatugi charlo no chimisula tatugi charlo no di te ngache jungsa bomegole charlogi do dude chi asnola 다 슈마기 차로 니동 추구다 캐치기 나로 때가체 블록 그란디 시수베 건래
The increase in the capital grant is to meet the increasing demand for public services from the local governments. At the Geok level, areas of priorities include agriculture and livestock, access to health and education, water and hygiene, and household income. At the Zongkak level, the focus will be on developing local economy and job creation, quality of health and education, waste and culture. Similarly, for the Tomdes, the focus is on urban facilities, safety, water, sanitation, pollution, quality of education and congestion. Pup Game for BBS News.
Thimphu District Court sentenced 4 Indian men to 23.5 years in prison for kidnapping 3 Bhutanese in 2016. The judgment passed recently also ordered the convicts to refund more than 1 million item to one of the victims' father within 6 months of the passing of the judgment.
The Office of the Attorney General charged the convicts with 8 various counts of kidnapping, illegal possession and pointing of a firearm, display of weapon, trespass, extortion, battery and harassment. Although the convicts denied the allegations during the hearings, they were sentenced as they were found guilty beyond reasonable doubts. The convicts, aged in between 28 and 32 years from Chirang district in Assam, kidnapped 2 Bhutanese men and a 12-year-old physically challenged boy from Samteling in Sarpang. The incident happened on the night of 22nd February 2016. The kidnappers, however, released the boy the next day. They demanded a ransom of 20 million yutam from the parents of one of the hostages. However, the amount was negotiated at 2 million yutam. As per the judgment, close to 1 million yutam of the ransom was recovered. The convicts will have to refund the remaining money. Along with the 4 convicts arrested in March 2016, there were also 6 other Indians allegedly involved. However, it was learned that they were arrested and are being prosecuted in Chirang Court, Assam for the crime. With camera person Tile Norbu, this is Changa Doji for BBS News.
The Anti-Corruption Commission implicated a former accountant of Phinsiling Dongkak administration for allegedly misusing and embezzling the government fund. The accountant allegedly misused close to 9 million itam in between 2014 and 2018.
According to the investigation report of the commission, the defendant embezzled the money through fraudulent practices. The accountant allegedly adjusted personal advances irregularly, created ghost employees, processed payments in the name of employees who were either transferred or retired from the service. The defendant also forged and tampered official documents, operated 2 saving accounts for credit in his salary, and inflated check amount to cover up for the shortfall against employees of the Dongkak administration. As per the report, the defendant already refunded over 4.2 million yutam into the audit recoveries account. The ACC is also implicating another accountant for allegedly embezzling over 214,000 yutam. According to the investigation report, the defendant knowingly misappropriated the fund transfer by not accounting it in one of the accounts of Wangdi Podrang Dongkak administration. The defendant had forged and edited revenue receipts and other vouchers. The Anti-Corruption Commission is recommending the Office of the Attorney General to charge the defendants under the offence of embezzlement and forgery. The case came to limelight following the Royal Audit Authority's audit of Phinsiling Dongkak administration for the fiscal year 2016 to 2017. It was forwarded to the ACC in February last year. This is Changa Doji for BBS News.
Thimphu District Court sentenced a 28-year-old man from Dagana to 10 years in prison for rape of a minor. As per the judgment passed last Wednesday, the convict, a truck driver by profession, raped a 15-year-old girl and also attempted to rape another 11-year-old girl in 2017.
The convict raped a 15-year-old girl at Changzamto in Thimphu. As per the Office of the Attorney General, the man was in a relationship with the victim. Despite this, the police arrested the convict, charging him of rape of a minor as per the Penal Code of Bhutan. Section 183 of the law states, a defendant shall be guilty of the offence of rape of a child above the age of 12 years if the defendant has sexual intercourse with a child between the ages of 12 to 18 years. The crime is a second-degree felony with a prison term ranging from 9 years to 15 years. The man was also convicted for attempt to rape case. In December 2017, the convict attempted to rape a minor on 2 occasions inside the truck he was driving. He also lied to the girl's parents and denied they were together. The OAG charged the man for rape. However, the court altered the charge following the hearings. This is Chang Adoji for BBS News.
Well, that's all for this week. Thank you for joining us. See you next time. Until then, this is Samtan Dolkar saying goodbye.